So hello everyone and welcome back to the Deercast. What you're about to see on today's video is footage of what we refer to as a fallow movement day. So the theory of the day is quite similar to a driven shoot in some ways, in that essentially we assemble a team of guns or rifles or stalkers, whatever you want to call them, place them out in strategic sort of high seats covering as large an area as possible. And then there are a few people on foot who essentially walk through or blank through areas the aim being to try and move fallow deer around, not like a driven hunt, as in we don't want them running, but we want them moving so that periodically they will walk in front of and hopefully stop in front of a high seat that a stalker is in, and then a stalker can take a shot at them.
Yeah, exactly right. And I think we've over the years realised you actually don't want to move them very quickly at all. The slower the better, because as the course of the day goes on, they get more and more pressured, and that often makes it much more difficult in the afternoon. The way we normally structure them is we do a morning session and then we do a sort of afternoon evening session. So you'll see in the footage we all met very, very early, 5 a.m. meeting, so properly in the dark, get everyone up in the high seats whilst it's still dark, so that actually hopefully there's some deer around when the sun comes up. And then we normally do sort of 2 or 3 hours morning session, something like that. Hopefully the deer keep moving as sort of one person shoots one or into a group, and then they move to the next person and that sort of thing. And then we'll go off and collect the carcasses, process them, get them all hung up in the chiller, and then we have a bit of breakfast. And then at about 2-3 o'clock, we normally go back out again for a sort of evening, afternoon session and sort of do the same thing again.
Yeah. And I think we've found there are a few advantages to doing days like this rather than just going out sort of stalking on your own, as it were. The first one being is the kind of efficiency of them. So if normally we sort of assemble a team of anywhere between sort of 10 and 20 guns, and we tend to end up with anywhere between sort of 20 to 40 fallow deer on a day shot and in the chiller, which if you work on the basis of being sort of successful, I don't know, 1 in every 2 or 3 times if you went out on your own, you think how many outings that would have to take in order to accrue that number of deer in the chiller. Basically, it's a very efficient way of doing it all in one go.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's also less pressure on the deer, because instead of, twice a week they're getting bothered and shot at, it's actually only maybe 3 or 4 times a year, something like that. Granted, it is a day of hell for them, but it is actually only very limited times throughout the year. So we haven't properly moved to doing this model yet, but what other people report is that actually it makes the management easier because they're less skittish. So that's a real benefit. It's also just really nice and good fun because you get a nice group of like-minded people around. We're very lucky. We've got a nice, good group of guns who are all very sensible, and we all get on really well. And it's really good fun to have everyone around, as it can be quite an isolating hobby at times, stalking. So yeah, that's a really nice aspect of it.
The other sort of final probably benefit I see is that we try and do it on a landscape scale. So it's the footage you're about to see. It's 4 separate sort of landowners or bits of land all joining together to do it. And one advantage is that actually you get to sort of blank in larger areas. And if you were going out stalking on your own on one particular farm, particularly with a transient species like fallow, you might get there in the morning and they're just not there. Whereas if you're covering sort of 4 neighbouring areas of land, you've probably got a pretty good chance of making sure that you've captured a pretty good area where there's likely to be fallow. And then, of course, there's more of them to potentially cull.
Yeah. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and we will see how we get on.
Right, welcome everybody. Morning. Plan is, hopefully there are enough plans here for everyone to take one if they wanted to. There are, how many? 1, 2, 3, 4 different stalking areas. Prior to a movement day, the team of stalkers will have received a briefing note that sets out the timings for the day, the overall agenda, important notes like health and safety, where they're going to be sat, and also which species and sex we are aiming to target. Then when everyone arrives on the morning, we run through a full briefing, again recapping everything that has gone out in the safety note, but also again what we're aiming to achieve with the day, and what the plans for the day are, when the morning session will start and finish, when the afternoon session will start and finish, and then answer any other questions any of the team of guns may have. This is quite an important part of the day. Normally only takes perhaps 10 or 15 minutes, but it does mean that everyone is very well briefed before the day actually starts. We're off.
Get the full beams on.
Right everyone, so we've done our little morning briefing for everyone. We've got 18 of us today, 18 guns. So Fergus and I have just driven around in the CF Moto to their little bit of wood that we're going to stalk through. Everyone's a little bit sleepy still this morning, but everyone's shared their WhatsApp live location, which is actually quite good for a cull day because then you get this great map of where everyone is, and it's obviously live. So that is going to be really helpful, and Fergus and I are going to walk through this bit of wood and hopefully get some deer moving.
So the plan here is for Harry to start on our northwest boundary and essentially flank in this large block of woodland. And if he comes across any fallow does or muntjac along the way, he'll obviously take those as well. So Harry's blanking through this bit of woodland with his brother Fergus. Harry isn't wearing high-vis vest for this point because he's not walking within line of sight of any of the team of guns. He's using his Bergara BA-13 Kiplauf because he's spending so much of the day on foot that actually the lighter the weight rifle you can have, the better. And also he's not one of the main shooters, as it were, on this day, so it doesn't need the ability for a really, really fast follow-up shot, although Harry is pretty handy with this BA-13. As you can see, he eventually comes across a fallow doe that stubbornly isn't moving towards a team of guns, so decides to take the shot.
I think so.
Now it's not long before Harry again is on to another deer, this time a muntjac, which he decides to set up and take a shot at. Hey! Hey!
One for the road, two for the mountain, three for the shore. There she goes.
So what Harry is doing here is bleeding the deer, the same as what he did with the fallow doe that he shot earlier. Because both of these animals have been headshot, there's obviously still a lot of blood in their system, which needs to be drained out to preserve the best quality of these carcasses.
Morning everyone, you join me in Bobby's box, my favourite shooting position. We've had quite an eventful morning from other people, quite a few shots going on around me. Unfortunately nothing that I've shot yet. I had a buck come about 20 yards from me when it was really dark this morning, so couldn't shoot that, but yeah, we haven't really had anything else shootable past me yet, but we're only at 8 o'clock, so fingers crossed. We'll have some later on. There's been quite a few bangs going on. I think I've heard about 10 shots from where I'm stood. I know I've seen some others that people have put on our group chat. But yeah, been loving it here. I've been providing the bants for the group chat as usual. But yeah, hoping for some more deer as the morning goes on.
So just after Bobby recorded that last bit of video saying that he was after some action, a large group of fallow deer that you can see here come out in front of him. Sadly, they do exactly what we don't want them to do on a day like this, which is that they either stop far too far away for a safe shot, or they just keep moving like they're doing here. This is a danger on some cull days, that you will end up with groups of deer that just won't settle and they never actually produce a safe shot, because whilst they're moving like this, no one is to take a shot at them. You are only taking a shot when they are completely and utterly stationary. So, I know a number of you will be thinking about these movement days with a little bit of scepticism from a health and safety point of view, because it does sound like a little bit of a nightmare in terms of putting a load of guns up in high seats like this one and then having another team on the ground moving deer around, which inevitably does mean those on the ground are going to be near or potentially near sort of lines of sight and areas of shooting. There are a few things we do to try and make sure that the day is as safe as possible. The first one is there is a very, very clear set of rules and do's and don'ts for the guns, which are issued to them a week in advance before any of these days. They then have a safety briefing in the morning on the day where, again, we run through those lists of do's and don'ts and any other safety procedures on the day. The health and safety kits, a designated first aider. We actually happened to have a doctor on the last one, which was a good bit of luck. And then, as you can see, which I'm very fashionably modelling today, all of those on foot will wear a high-vis vest such as this one, so they're really easy for guns to see a million miles away. We then also finally have on WhatsApp a group for everyone involved on the day, and they all share their live locations on that group. So for those that are on foot, they can see potentially whose high seat they're about to walk in front of, but then also from the gun's point of view, they can see when people are on foot, when they're kind of coming near them or about to come in front of them, they can see on that group where someone's potentially about to come from and sort of enter their arc of fire, as it were. So generally speaking, we try to make these days as safe as possible, and we think we do a pretty good job.
Hello.
So So once Harry had finished blanking in that bit of woodland, he was on Carcass patrol. So using this amazing ATV from CF Motos, which we were loaned for the day, which was very kind, he was able to go around and collect any carcasses either when it was safe to do so or, as this footage shows, at the end of the morning session.
Yeah. Do you want yours on?
I think mine is on.
Is it?
I don't know how many they've had. You quit
Is
counting?
it fun driving this around?
It's a bit stressful.
Why?
I'm constantly worried about breaking it.
There we are.
Give us a hand, Fergal. There's one up there. There's two up there as well. Should be here somewhere.
Oh, there they are.
I saw those. I was going to say, is that anti-aircraft?
So once it all quietened down, we called the morning session an end, and all guns therefore get down out of their high seats at the same point so that no one is moving back towards central location whilst anyone is still shooting. Harry was still going around collecting the carcasses with the ATV and bringing them back to the larder, as you can see here.
Keep coming. Right hand down. Right hand down. Keep coming. Keep coming. Keep coming. Stop.
But you then have cut into a Alright.
So then, in the end, I managed to shoot one deer. We didn't catch it on film, but it was good. I'm happy, but in total, the lads have had a good effort. We are now up to 15, I think, for the morning. Got a few examples here. Big sort of doe here, a few muntjac, lots of others, and the chiller is full at the moment, cooling the others down.
Let's have a look.
So we've got quite a few in the chiller. So yeah, the chiller's full of 6 deer. You see the land dig is working hard with the chiller fan, getting the deer down to temperature. They're getting quite cold actually. So once they're down to temperature, we can get them up into the other chiller and start chilling this lot down. But yeah, we're going well.
So everyone, you'll have seen we had quite an early start this morning. It was quite an early alarm clock. We had a 5 a.m. meeting down in one of the barns with everyone who's rocked up this morning. We've sort of put everybody out in high seats and we had a good morning. Everyone was out in high seats from about 6 o'clock in the morning, 6:30, so the light sort of came up. And we've had, I think we've had 15, something like that this morning. We called it a day at about sort of 9:30, something like that, and we've just gone and collected all the carcasses. You'll have seen me go and stalk through some of the woodlands. So what we did is we had a lot of guns sat in high seats, and then Tom and I and a few others have been moving the sort of areas around the high seats in the woodlands to try and keep the deer moving, because that really is the key with these. So yeah, we processed a load of deer. They're all hanging in the chiller, and now we're going to go head off to the pub for a bit of breakfast.
So now the most important part of the day, everyone heads off to the local pub where we have a full English breakfast, tea and coffee to make sure everyone is fully refueled, refreshed and ready for the afternoon session. We haven't recorded the afternoon session for you guys simply because it's a lot of repeat of what you've already seen, but really hope you've enjoyed this video and we'll try to bring you more of these again in the future.
So everyone, as you saw yesterday, we had our deer movement day and we shot 26 in total. That was the final tally, and we got 20 nice headshot carcasses, all fallow, to take to the game dealer, which we're going to take them to Oakland Park. So yeah, we've got our nice transport trailer all loaded up, and I hope you really enjoyed that video. If you've got any comments about anything or you've got any questions, please go and put them in the comments section. We really want to hear your feedback and what you have to say. And yeah, like, subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one.